Hey guys, it's Lexi and I'm back with another video. I was tagged by the lovely Emily over at X Obsessed Reader X to do the top 5 most underrated books tag, and I picked out my 5 books that I found on my shelves that I think not a lot of people have heard about, even though they should. And it's actually turned out that 4 out of 5 of these books are some of my favorite books of all time, so you can get a little sneak peek of some of my favorite books. One quick thing before I get started on the tag, I want to tell you guys that I did just get an iPhone, which means I also got an Instagram, so if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, my username is LexiWin99 and I will leave my link down below so you can follow me. I think my profile's open. I don't know. I'm not quite used to this thing yet, and I mean I just started using it yesterday, but I'm already kind of obsessed, and my lovely phone case is it's a platform 9 3/4 ticket, so that's pretty freaking awesome. Anyways, let's just get on with the tag and I'm going to tell you guys about my top 5 most underrated books. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is Song of the Sparrow by Lisa Ann Sandel. I read this book when I was in 7th or 8th grade and I just fell in love with this book. It's about this girl named Elaine who actually lives at Camelot, and she's the daughter of one of the knights in King Arthur's court. And it's all about how she deals with all the knights and she has feelings for, I think, Lancelot. I don't quite remember, it's been a while since I read it. But she has these feelings for Lancelot and everything gets really complicated once Guinevere shows up and she has to try to work with Guinevere even though she doesn't really get along with her. And the amazing thing about this book is that it's written in verse, like all of Ellen Hopkins' books. So this book is actually a super quick read and I really, really adore it. If you guys are looking for something kind of different, this is definitely something I had never read before in my entire life, like stylistically, and it was amazing, so you should definitely check this book out. The second book that I'm going to talk about is The Alchemist by Michael Scott, which is the first book in the Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series, and I believe there are 6 books in the series. I actually haven't read anything past the first one, but The Alchemist is an amazing book. This is actually a middle grade series, and it's about these 2 kids, Sophie and Josh Newman, and they come across Nicholas Flamel and his wife Pernell, who have sort of just lost this special book that they have called the Book of Abraham the Mage, and that has the secret to immortality in it. So they start to age really, really quickly. I think it's for every day that they go by without the book, they age a year and they're like 650 or something years old. And so it's all about this mad wild chase that they have to go on to get the book back and deal with this evil guy named Dr. John Dee. But there's a lot of cool influences from mythology and history and all these great legends that are thrown in here. There are some Greek goddess characters, I believe, and there's this one Irish warrior princess who's in this book who I just love. And then Dr. John Dee was actually a historical scientist, so there's all sorts of great characters woven in together, and they're given like these really modern personalities, and it actually works out really well. Also, this book is extremely fast-paced. This one little first book in the series takes place over the course of 2 days, so it's very action-packed, it's very quick, and it's just freaking awesome, so you guys should definitely check this book out. Next book that I'm going to talk about is Unremembered by Jessica Brody. This book, guys, this book is so freaking awesome. I've actually met Jessica Brody on several occasions. She's such an amazing person and she's super nice and funny, and her writing is really great as well. I mean, the chapters are super short, you just go through it really quickly, but oh, I should probably tell you what this book is about. This book is about this girl named Serafina who wakes up in the middle of a plane crash and doesn't have any memories whatsoever, not of who she is or where she came from. So it's this whole mystery of her trying to figure out who she is and where she belongs, and it becomes like this sci-fi high chase adventure thing, and it's really great. There's also a love story woven in, and there's also some really funny elements and side characters that are just great. She gets put into this foster family, that's not a spoiler, and her foster brother Cody is the most hilarious thing that I've ever read about. It's just a really good book, and the sequel, Unforgotten, is coming out this month, I think in the next week or so, and I'm really excited to get my hands on that one. So I would highly, highly recommend this book if you guys are interested in sci-fi, romance, anything that's kind of big right now. I just feel like not a lot of people talk about this book specifically, and it really deserves more hype than it gets. So check it out. This next book is actually another middle grade novel, and it's called Disney After Dark, which is part of the Kingdom Keeper series, and it was written by Ridley Pearson. He also co-wrote the Peter and the Starcatcher series, which I really did not like, but this This is a really, really, really good book. Again, first in a series. I haven't read anything else in the series, but it's so good. I mean, if you're a fan of like Percy Jackson, like how that story is written, like with that age main character and all the crazy adventures that he goes through, and Disney, this is kind of the hybrid book of those two, and it's freaking awesome. I was so in love with this book the first time that I read it. It just blew me out of the water, even though I'd never heard of it, and I don't think I've ever heard about it since. So I really think you guys should read it. It's about this boy named, what's his name? This boy named Finn Whitman, and he goes to Disney, and they're starting like this new high-tech program where they have tour guides that are actually holograms. So Finn and a couple of his other friends are trying out to be like hologram guides for the park. But the problem is that when they come back to the park at night and talk about the rides at night, characters from the rides wake up and come to life. And it is the most amazing thing when these typical teenagers are just walking around and they just run into Snow White and Peter Pan, and it's just great. It's just very cute, and every time I like flip through it and look through some of the pages where it talks about all these rides, I feel like I'm back in the Disney park. And even if you've never been to the Disney parks, I feel like this would still be an awesome read for you. The very last book that I'm going to talk about that I think is extremely underrated is, I'm pretty sure, my favorite book of all time. This might be kind of intimidating, but I don't think, honestly, that people completely understand me as a person until they've read this book. And it's Sundays at Tiffanys by James Patterson. This book, it's heart-shattering and it's heart-mending, and it just... The first time that I read it in 8th grade, I was just blown away. And I have to keep this book on a separate shelf because I just don't think it deserves to be put on the same shelf as other books that I've even like really liked, because this is something completely different. This book is about this girl named Jane Margot, and she's growing up in New York, and she's having like a lot of problems with loneliness, and she doesn't really understand how to make friends, and she's not good with people. And so when she's really young, she kind of creates this imaginary friend named Michael, and he's this older man who's like in his 30s, and he just helps her through a lot of her childhood, dealing with her parents and how they're kind of estranging her and the fact that she doesn't really fit in anywhere. And then it kind of fast forwards to when Jane herself is in her 30s, and she's become successful in her industry, but she's still not very happy. She still doesn't talk to a lot of people, and then she runs into Michael in real life. Their relationship in this book is my standard for every relationship that I will ever have in my entire life. It's just magnificent. This book is so beautifully written, and the chapters are so short. I feel like I could have read this in one sitting, even though when I was a lot younger I first read this. I had to take breaks just because I was freaking out at how beautiful everything was. I think this is an amazing book, and like I said, I don't think anybody would truly understand me as a person until they've read this book. So if that's motivation to read this, you should definitely pick it up. But if you just like love stories and things that make you feel good and things that you can just sit in your bed with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea if you prefer on a rainy night, this, I don't think there is a more perfect book to read in that setting. So yeah, Sundays at Tiffanys by James Patterson. So those are my top 5 most underrated books of all time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments if you have read any of these books. That would be really cool, actually, or if my suggestions made you interested in any of them. Hopefully I will have another video up maybe in the next couple of days, a week or so. I'm not really sure, but I'll figure that one out later. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!